Last night, the Mariners ended their 4-game losing skid, and today they kept the winning vibes going with a big win over the Angels. Let's talk about it here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. This is Trident Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you so much for making us your first listen after the game. Subscribe, like, and turn on alerts if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform if you like what you hear. And if you're part of the crew and rock with us every single day, let us know in the comments below. And if you want to hear from us even more, please consider signing up for our Patreon. You can now get a free 7-day trial to check out the show. The link, as well as our social accounts, is in the description of this episode. 3-2, the final score from T-Mobile Park. Mariners take 2 of 3 from the Angels before heading into a much needed day off tomorrow. Congratulations, guys. Enjoy it. The scoring for the Mariners today: an RBI double from Julio Rodriguez in the third, and a pair of RBI singles from Cal Raleigh and Teoscar Hernandez in the fifth. That's all Seattle needed in this one. Colby, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was a game that happens, and it was.
It's a win. It's a win, Colby.
It is against the Angels, who can suck it as always. But
yep.
Yeah, it was. It was a game that set offenses back about 15 years, I think. Just very few hard hit balls in this game. Not a lot of traffic. Well, until late, but just not a lot of hits in general. Obviously, not a lot of runs, but. It's just funny the way baseball works. Last night you have just an absolute rout where you look like a team that's going to the playoffs, and the Angels look like a team that's given up. And then not even 18 hours later, you're in a pitcher's duel and you're trying to score against a bad Angels bullpen, and it doesn't seem like you can do it. And meantime, your own struggling bullpen is putting a lot of guys on base after Castillo. Was pretty good. Ran a lot of deep counts. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little later. But, and they come out and they put a lot of guys on base, and it looks like you have the bad bullpen, and they find a way out of it. Topa in particular, that was a very sketchy outing from Topa, and then Brash comes out, a little bit of traffic, but 3 strikeouts. Nothing put in play hard or anything like that. So, and then Munoz just comes out and it's just fastball. Gives up the 1 hit, but it was. I thought they both looked pretty good overall. So, yeah, just kind of a weird. You have 2 games played so close next to each other that are complete polar opposites. So, it's a good win. There's no question about that. All wins are good this time of year, regardless of who they come against. And it was nice today because it was the pitching who kind of carried the squad a little bit. It's best start we've gotten from a starter in a while. I think the bullpen was, again, aside from Topa, the other 2 guys were pretty darn good with their stuff today. So, it's a good solid win. You needed it. You're going to pick up a game on either Toronto or Texas, so that's always good. And maybe, just maybe, Oakland can pull off a 3rd win in a row against Houston, and you can close that gap a little bit more. But yeah, you head into a much needed off day. 13 games in a row this late in the year is brutal. So hopefully you can get rested up a little bit. Tough Dodger series coming to town. You'd love to win that series, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. So we said after the heartbreaking Monday loss that they needed to find a way to win this series, and they did. So they're in it still. It's a good bounce back performance last night after the disappointing game on Monday that you should have won. And so it's a good win. I would have liked a little more from the offense, to be perfectly frank, but sometimes you just got to win like that. So you take it, you put it in your back pocket, you don't give it back, and every win is absolutely crucial right now. I think we're 16 games left. Something like that. So it's we talk about it's go time. Every single win matters. Every single loss is brutal. You have to win the series you should win. And the Mariners did win this series. So good series, not great, but you take it.
Yeah, last night's win was too chill and laid back for the Mariners to keep that going. They had to pump some excitement back into our lives with today for sure. Like you mentioned, you are going to pick up a game on either Toronto or Texas. So either your playoff buffer goes up to 2 over Toronto if they lose, or you go up a game on both Texas and Toronto in the playoff standings, and you will head into Friday in a playoff spot no matter what happens between those two teams tonight and tomorrow. So that's good stuff all around there on that front. And by the way, speaking of last night, shout out to Bryan Woo. We're not going to have we haven't had a chance to talk about him, obviously, because we're doing this show after the game. Great start yesterday. I mean, amazing start given everything that we felt heading into that start. Best start that the Mariners had gotten out of one of their pitchers since the Logan Gilbert start in New York, quite frankly. So that was, amazing.
Back-to-back really good starts in the month of September. Like,
it's possible.
What is this? August?
Winning a series in September, it's possible, apparently.
It's a bad team. Like, oh, wow, you can do that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good to see.
It's not illegal after all.
Yeah. Starting pitching in this series, pretty good against not a very good lineup, but bullpen still a little sticky, but you take what you can get, and Gilbert was pretty good on Monday, not great, but pretty good. Woo was fantastic last night, and Luis was, I would say, very good today. So certainly what you want to do the rest of the year, obviously, but Bryan Woo definitely deserves a shout out here because he was spectacular, which we talked about. You never know what Bryan Woo you're going to get at this stage. He's either going to come out, and it was interesting though is that his velocity was down still a little bit. So just
did that kind of seem more planned, intentional? Yeah,
I don't know. It's tough to say with these guys, and they'll never tell you, but his command was certainly better than it was in his last start. So I don't know if it was intentional, and it was, I think, up slightly from his last start, but still down overall. But I don't know. And that just goes to show Woo's fastball is good enough that it's not necessarily about velocity. Obviously more velocity is better. But if he has to sit 93, 94 to command on the corners like that, then so be it. That's just what you have to do. So, something to monitor. But yeah, Woo was excellent last night, and you hope that these kind of 3 solid starts in a row kind of builds the momentum for the rest of this rotation, because you're going to need it against the Dodgers this weekend and in the final, I think it's 16 games down the stretch.
Yeah. So Luis Castillo, as you mentioned today, was good. He wasn't dominant. Still 3 walks, a couple of 2-out walks. That was pretty frustrating. Had some issues putting guys away, had some issues throwing his secondaries for strikes. The Mariners really, really need dominant Luis Castillo at some point this month, and I thought today was a good opportunity for that, but we didn't necessarily get that. But a good enough start out of Luis, and probably looks even a lot better if the offense, does a little bit more today and it's not as close of a game where every single pitch matters. 6 innings pitched for Luis, 104 pitches for him, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, 2 earned runs on 3 hits. He made the mistake to Brett Phillips, gave up an RBI double to Brandon Drury as well. Break it down for us a little bit more here. What did you think about Castillo's day?
Yeah, only 4 hard hit balls. Really, it was the walks that made Castillo's day go from great to, just pretty good. You can't walk 3 guys, not in this lineup, not against anybody, really. You're just creating too much traffic. It cost you at least another inning, probably. And, at the grand scheme of things, it didn't hurt him overall. Again, only 4 hard hit balls all day. That's a really good number.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at how he did it today, it was fastball. It was the 4-seamer, predominantly the 4-seamer. 51% of the pitches were the 4-seamer, 19% the 2-seamer or the sinker. So 70% fastball. I think Woo showed Castillo like this is the formula. Woo was very fastball heavy last night as well. The Angels, this lineup that they've run out there the last 3 days, really struggling with velocity, in particular up in the zone. So that was kind of Castillo's game plan, clearly. Velo didn't take any major steps forward or anything like that, but 10 whiffs on 27 swings on a 4-seam fastball. That's really good. That's a good fastball right there. Also got 50% whiff rate on the slider. and 33% whiff rate on the changeup. So he was able to get whiffs on 3 of his 4 pitches. The 2-seamer, no whiffs, just 3 called strikes. But that is a pitch that is designed to. It's not really designed to get whiffs. It's designed to get soft contact, which he got a lot of today. Again, only 4 hard hit balls. So overall, Castillo pretty good. The walks a little bit concerning. Castillo's a guy who, you never know. He's going to make a mistake at some point. He's going to leave a pitch over the middle of the plate. And if he does that after he's walked a few guys, then you're in trouble. So thankfully, Phillips's home run today was just a solo shot. But it's something he does still have to clean up, but I thought it was better. I thought he looked better today than he did in Tampa. So numbers not quite as good, but still, this is, at the end of the day, numbers wise, at the very least, 2 back-to-back really solid starts from Castillo.
Sure.
And you just hope he continues to build it. So he's going to get, I think, 2, maybe 3 starts in the last 10 games is how it's lined up. You're going to need him to really step up, because you're going up against some formidable offenses with your playoff hopes on the line. You need Castillo to step up and be the number one he's capable of being. And the last 2 starts, certainly a step in the right direction at the very least.
Yeah, going to need to throw some more strikes, going to need to be able to put guys away more efficiently, going to need to be able to get more value out of his secondaries. But a good start today, nonetheless, from Luis Castillo. Colby, the Mariners finished the season, I believe, 8-5 against the Angels, and this might be the last time we see Phil Nevin as Angels manager. So he left us with a gift. However, today we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, a reminder: this episode of the Locked On Mariners postgame show is brought to you by FanDuel. Celebrate the start of the NFL season with great offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners' 3-2 victory over the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The Mariners, of course, get a day off tomorrow after 13 games in a row. They have made it through that, and oh man, I hope they enjoy the hell out of the off day tomorrow, because the Los Angeles Dodgers are coming to town starting Friday, and over the course of the weekend, you can catch all the action on the Mariners' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. Get you ready for that one on probably Friday, because tomorrow we're actually going to have Jordan Schusterman of Cespedes Family Barbecue join the show. Going to be checking in with him, see what he has to say about the Mariners and what's going on with the AL West division race and the AL wildcard race and all that good stuff. So Colby, like I mentioned, Phil Nevin gave us a little bit of a gift, maybe a parting gift. We'll see if he sticks around as Angels manager beyond this season. I would bet no, but we'll see. We'll see what they want to do this offseason. The Angels are not a very smart franchise, so yeah.
Also not a very desirable job.
That too.
Especially after Ohtani leaves. So.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Sometimes you're the only girl in the bar, so to speak. So yeah. And that's kind of fitting, because Nevin managed this game like he was drunk. So I think that the bar motif fits, because holy cow, is he bad at this job? He's so bad. He's so bad. But and it's not the intentional walk, although I think that's kind of dumb. Like, fine, whatever. We're gonna make somebody other than Julio beat us this series.
Sure.
Okay, there's 2 outs, but and it's the 5th, but okay, fine, whatever. But then you go and you get the left, you go and you take out the lefty to go to the righty to flip Cal back to his strong side where he represents the go-ahead run.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? Like, if you're going to intentionally walk Julio, it's to leave the lefty out there.
Yeah.
So that Julio doesn't face a lefty and Cal has to hit right-handed. Like, if you do that, okay. It seems a little silly, but okay, whatever. You can wrap your head around it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Just go get, if you don't want the lefty to face Julio, go get the righty then. I don't.
Yeah. So for those of you listening that did not have a chance to watch or listen to the game today, It was the bottom of the fifth. Ty France led the inning off by getting hit by a pitch because, obviously. Death, taxes, and Ty France getting hit by pitches. Only 3 certainties in life. Then Mariners record 2 outs after that. Julio comes up. They intentionally walk him with Jose Suarez, the lefty, on the mound. And Suarez had already pitched. I think he had gotten like 5 outs up to that point on the day. So he was pretty much at the end of his rope. But they didn't initially take him out, right? So we saw Julio come up when we thought, all right, they're going to bring in Jimmy Herget. Instead, Suarez stayed out there for the moment. They intentionally walked him. Then Phil Nevin went out and got Herget and decided to flip Cal Raleigh to his power side. What? Like, again, like you mentioned, totally like get, intentionally walking Julio and even going after Cal, but go after right-handed Cal Raleigh. Don't go after left-handed Cal Raleigh. Because right-handed Cal Raleigh is like, he's fine. Decent hair.
Hit a home run the other day.
He did. He did. But left-handed Cal Raleigh, I've said this before on this show. Left-handed Cal Raleigh is one of the most fun hitters I've ever watched in my entire life. He's awesome.
Seems a bit extreme, but okay, whatever.
It's incredibly fun to watch.
But obviously, you have to factor in the ballpark too. You definitely want Cal swinging from the right side as opposed to the left side. This ballpark is much better for lefty pull power than it is righty pull power. So yeah, it just didn't make any sense. And, he was able to loop a single into right field and, Manny Acta not learning from his mistakes since
Did you catch him on the broadcast thanking the heavens?
Yes, I did. It's yeah, you should, because I've had just about enough of Manny getting Ty thrown out at home by 10 feet. And by the way, if Ohapi had let the ball come to him instead of going out to get it, he would have been out by 10 feet. So thankfully, the young catcher makes a bit of a mistake and Ty with a really good slide. I mean, it was certainly a good slide.
Really nice slide, good hand placement, good stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Should have been out. Because the ball got to Ohapi before he started his dive to home. It was it was a mistake by Ohapi to vacate the plate when the throw had plenty of distance to get to him. But whatever, young catcher makes a mistake, so be it. And then obviously you can't forget Teo, who actually had the game-winning hit right after that on a scorcher up the middle that was not able to be fielded by
Zach Neto, I think.
Was it Neto? Whoever, whatever. Yeah. Weren't able to get it done. And then unfortunately, the Mariners offense was retired in order after that. So again, rough day for the offense, which is fantastic because which is fantastic that Phil helped you out when he did.
Yeah, after Julio's double, they had runners at second and third, 1 out. And then you have Cal coming up, you have Teo coming up. All right, I feel good about this. And then Cal gets a 3-0 count. Takes strike 1. All right, cool, whatever. Fine. Wait for your pitch, right? And then he pops up, foul territory. And then Teo, first pitch, pops up, foul territory. And what do the Angels do right after that? They take a 2-1 lead. Yeah. And then it kind of, at that point, I was like, uh-oh. I actually felt pretty confident heading into this game when the game started. You got Castillo on the bump. They got a bullpen day, whatever. But then when that happened, I was like, oh, the vibes are a little weird in this game right now.
I think if the Angels score a third run in that situation, I think the game's over. So the fact that Castillo was able to pitch around that, keep it at 2-1. Rojas made a really nice play on a slow roller that just barely got out Escobar, I believe. So it was.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they needed to review that.
Just barely got him. And that ended up being huge. So, sometimes you need those little plays to go your way. It was just a matter of, inches today. Ty was almost thrown out. Escobar almost did beat that ball out to first, and then it's first and third with 1 out. And it's well, maybe you get a double play, but still, it's 2-1 at that point. So there were a lot of things that could have gone their way, but then again, if Cal got a pretty decent pitch on 3-1 too. He just missed it. He just flat out missed it. So we talk about this, the margin of error is so small, even when good teams play bad teams. Just look at Monday night, right? If
Yeah.
Gino fields a routine ground ball, it's 6-5 in the bottom of the 11th. You have a good chance to win it. If you get one good at bat against a bad reliever, who, by the way, you didn't get a hit off of again today. If you had done that, you would have swept this series. And so
Nothing irritates me more than the Mariners letting bad relief pitchers get away with being bad.
So I tell you, the one thing that irritates me is the one thing, like there's one,
Right.
is when they get into like 2-0, 3-1 counts,
Mhm.
and then they either get the cookie and they miss it,
Yeah.
or they expand the zone and they chase. It's like, what are you doing? Like this
Yeah.
is the count you dream of. 2-0,
Yeah.
you're getting a fastball down the pipe, and if you don't, you take it. 3-1, you're
Yeah.
getting a fastball down the pipe, and if you don't, you take it. Like, geez Louise, have some
Yeah,
confidence in yourself, guys.
But my biggest ick in baseball, if you want to consider it that,
God.
is
Don't start with
see
that.
is a bad reliever with bad numbers and not good stuff getting away with it. They should be punished to the full extent of the law of the Mariners offense in those situations. And
Right.
Aaron Loop got away with murder the last couple of games.
Yeah. The bottom third of the Mariners order, we're handing out pardons on Monday night. So, but hey, you know what? It's okay. They won the next two. So it's all good. We're positive here on Locked On
Hashtag
Mariners.
positive, baby. Hashtag positive.
I am the captain of positivity. I have to be.
Right.
I'm the one who.
Sure.
I'm the one who, like, keeps things loose and reminds everybody that it's just a game. Guys, at the end of the day, it's a game, and if they lose on Friday, I might snap. So it's just a game, though. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, I would be happy with just one win against the Dodgers, to be honest with you. Would like more. Just don't get swept by the Dodgers.
It's so hard though, because like you're only going to be up by like at most 1.5 games of a playoff spot. 2.5 if Toronto loses the next two, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
So Toronto gets swept. You have a 2.5 game playoff offer, but man, like just don't get swept. For the love of God, don't get swept.
And then don't have a letdown in Oakland, which Oakland is giving some good teams some problems lately.
They're playing some good ball. All right. Like they just beat Houston twice. Didn't they beat Texas twice? Or they gave Toronto
they beat Texas once, but they gave them a tough time. They obviously gave the Mariners a tough time.
They gave Toronto a tough time.
And look, it's 0-0 between them and Houston right now on the top of the third. So maybe they sweep the Astros, or is that a 4-game series?
No, Houston's off tomorrow, 3-game set.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're off every Thursday, of course.
Yes. Yeah. Don't sleep on Oakland.
That's also been a problem area for Luis Castillo, and guess who's scheduled to start in that series?
So we'll see how that goes. Don't sleep on Oakland. They're playing good ball right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mason Miller is lined up to pitch against you, but he's he might be a guy. So like,
actually, I think he's scheduled to start on the weekend. I hope so. Maybe I'm coping. But also Waldichuk has been really good lately too.
Yeah. So I mean, like Oakland's playing pretty good ball, which is weird to say as they're about to lose their 100th game. But like they're playing pretty good ball this month.
Zach Geloff has been amazing.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
they're
but yeah, they got some guys. We know Rhoda's Rhoda. Rooker is dangerous. Noda is dangerous.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
they did the fusion dance.
They got some guys.
Ryan Noda
Tony
and Brent
Kemp,
Rooker did the fusion dance.
I don't know if Tony Kemp is on this team still or not, but if he is, he's gonna have a 3-for-5 game at some point in the series.
Yeah.
Langoliers is dangerous. Like, and I'm pretty sure you're going down to Oakland, so there's not going to be a lot of energy in that ballpark.
Yes.
So yeah, don't sleep on Oakland.
The team.
Yes.
The team.
Oakland, I would like to win one against the Dodgers, because then I feel like I don't have to necessarily sweep Oakland. I can just win a series and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Hey, Matt Brash and Andres Munoz were pretty good today. Let's talk about them just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners postgame show is brought to you by Jace Medical. Modern medical care and treatment are important, but our global supply chains are fragile. Things like pandemics, natural disasters, and foreign travel may cut you off from the treatment you need. Jace Medical is your solution. Just fill out our online form and one of our board-certified physicians will review it to determine whether medications are safe and appropriate. Then they will send your prescriptions to one of our partner pharmacies where your Jace order will be filled and mailed directly to your home. Everyone should feel empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jace Medical offers the Jace case. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jace Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using their promo code LOCKEDON at checkout on jacemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the Mariners 3-2 victory over the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. The Mariners get a day off tomorrow. Then they will be facing off with the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are my brother's favorite team. So a little family sibling rivalry there. We don't get that too often, but except now.
Your brother also a Cowboys fan?
He is a Packers fan.
Same thing. Duke?
No. Florida Gators.
It's have some originality. Ty's brother, whatever your name is.
He's also a Clippers fan, which you should give him that. Like, the Clippers,
that's
the
fair.
Clippers are like, they're kind of the Mariners of the NBA.
I'd say
they haven't
more like
they
the Angels.
They haven't gone to the final. I don't think they've gone to the finals.
I'd say they're more like the Angels, but like they're the Angels.
The Angels have won
Lakers.
a World Series though.
Barely.
Sure.
It's like 20 years ago. Who cares?
Sure. Can you name 5 players on that roster?
On the World Series winning team?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Frankie Rodriguez, Troy Percival was on that team. David Eckstein.
Yep.
What's the guy who used to crush Jamie Moyer, the lefty? Garrett Anderson.
Yeah, Garrett Anderson. Yep.
Tim Salmon was on that team.
Troy
Gloss. Yep, was on that team.
Yep.
It was certainly a good team.
Good team. John Lackey on that team?
I think he was a rookie that year. Yeah, I think he had some big start, or he was big moments out of the pen or something like that as a rookie. I know K-Rod was like the big rookie sensation that helped him, but I certainly do. Darren Erstad was on that team.
That's a good one. It's a good call. Yeah, good pull. Yeah.
I was quality roster.
I was rooting for the Giants in that series.
Barry Bonds apologist.
Jeff Kent. Big Jeff Kent guy. Yeah. Oh wow, JT Snow. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good one.
Rob Nen, I think, was the closer.
Wow.
Like, good squad.
That's great.
Tony Womack, I think, was on that team.
He
played for the Dodger or the Diamondbacks the year before when he won the World Series, and then I think he played for San Francisco that year. I could be wrong, but this has nothing to do with the Mariners. So Ty, pivot.
We get into these little phases where we just name some guys. We do it a lot over on Control the Zone. Patreon.com/Control the Zone. Yeah. All right. So Matt Brash, Andres Munoz, they had a couple of really good outings today. Good things seem to happen whenever JP Crawford goes out to talk to Matt Brash. He was really struggling to locate his slider. Then JP went out there, talked to him, and then he struck out the next 2 guys, gave up a little floater that landed in front of Dom Canzone off the bat of Eduardo Escobar. But then he comes back, strikes out the next guy, and now Matt Brash is the 5th reliever in Mariners history to record 100 strikeouts in a single season. So congratulations to Matt Brash. That was an awesome outing. But I specifically want to ask you about Andres Munoz. We heard that he was dealing with a little bit of a left hip issue in Tampa. He didn't pitch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And a little worried about that. Obviously, he's been struggling in general on the mound as of late. Then you got this left hip thing flare up. But the last couple of times that he's come out, he's been consistently throwing 101 miles per hour plus, which he hasn't really been doing all year. So is left hip issue code word for like something else? Like gas camp, in-season gas camp?
Careful. By the way, David Bell was on that team. Reggie Sanders on that team. Kenny Lofton is the veteran I was thinking of, not Tony.
And you
Womack.
wanted me to move on.
Well, I mean, I was just curious because I remember them, like, they acquired like a speedster at the deadline, and it was Lofton, not Womack. But So what were you talking about? We're talking about Munoz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they give him the good stuff? Did they give him the same stuff that the Seahawks gave Jordan Brooks?
I mean, a cadaver knee. I don't think they gave him that, but like, no, they're interesting. Like note on Munoz is that he threw one off speed pitch today, one slider in the entire outing, 15 pitches, 14 fastballs. The slider, by the way, called strike. So
Yeah.
it was an
Yeah.
effective one at the very least. Here's a little fun thing about that. Yeah, four seam today averaged 101. Which is 2 ticks above his season average.
Yeah.
But here's the fun one. Sinker averaged just shy of 100 miles an hour, a two seamer that goes 100 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
He threw that disgusting one to Grichuk.
Yeah. And by the way, this is, Munoz has struggled. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But he is starting to get more whiffs on that two seamer. And we saw him, he can jam you up. He can get you to chase. He starts that two seamer. If he can get that to start over the inner third of the plate, as long as it has the run it's supposed to have, that pitch is basically impossible to barrel up. Like it would be an incredibly impressive pitch to barrel up. So we've seen him kind of, I don't want to say ditch the slider, but clearly he doesn't have a feel for it right now. He doesn't trust it. So he's going to more and more sinkers. I'd be interested to know what the split was in usage between, the first half and the second half. And in particular this month, it seems like he has essentially gone from, slider fastball in that order to two seam, four seam, and then he'll mix in a slider. But yeah, he looked really good today. Obviously gives up the hit, but honestly, I don't think that he was giving up the lead just based on what we saw. The two seamer was just, it was filthy. The Angels had no shot.
Yeah.
And by the way, Brash's fastball has got some run on it in recently, and Brash has been really good for the last month or so. He's been your best reliever. But yeah, today hit 100 a couple times, a lot of run, a lot of play at the top of the zone. It had some rise at the top and had some run. It was Brash's fastball today was just as good as Munoz.
Yeah.
So we talked about those two guys. Those two guys are critical, not only if you're going to make the playoffs, but if you're going to make a deep run. Those guys are, when they're on and they're throwing strikes and they have any kind of command whatsoever, they are as good of a 1-2 punch as anybody you're going to face. American League, National League, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's just such a high degree of variance in performance, and you never know what version you're going to get until they're out there. So that's the troubling part. They're very good, but they're not all that consistent. So you just kind of hope that you catch them at the right time. And hopefully today is like kind of the start of something with Munoz. Again, he flashed this in, when he got out of the self-induced jam on Monday. He flashed this in the 1-0 game against Tampa. And then we kind of saw this version of Munoz against Kansas City a few weeks ago in that game. So we've seen flashes of it. Now it's just time to get it consistently locked in. And again, Brash and Munoz, they really, they're very, very important players. And the success of the Mariners playoff chase, and if they get in, their success in the playoffs is going to hinge on those two guys pretty significantly, which is, good, but also slightly terrifying. So we'll see what they can do. But stuff wise, there's not a better 1-2 punch in baseball than those two.
Agreed. And the 3 days of rest that both of those guys got during the Tampa series seems to have really helped them out a bit here. So got to keep it going, but they're going to get another day off tomorrow, which again is so massive for not only those guys, but just the whole team in general.
And then I think another day off next Thursday, their last one of the year. So bullpen should be in immaculate shape down the stretch. So if they got anything out of the Tampa series, the ability to kind of reset the pen, maybe that's the silver lining from that disaster of a series, because they need it, and they need those two guys, especially since Topa right now is kind of going through it a little bit himself. So, it's fun to see those two guys with their best stuff on the same day. It's the lights out stuff that you've been waiting for.
And then if they were to make the playoffs as the wild card, it's 2 days off, 1 day off. I can't remember what it was last year. Okay. And then if they win the division, obviously you get yourself a couple of extra days off.
At least 5.
So, you're only 1.5 back. You still got 3 games left against Houston. So Just got to keep winning games. But if you want a few days off, which would really help, you should try and win the division. Just saying. Anywho, that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. For Colby Patnode, I'm Trident Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez, that's DANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, that's CPAT11. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well over at Locked On Mariners. That's one word, Locked On Mariners. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the game. Again, you can catch the Mariners and the Dodgers beginning on Friday on the Mariners hometown broadcast of SiriusXM via the SXM app. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.